All right. District Governor Tim, you're up.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Everyone who had worked on this presentation today. Thank you very much. Went through it Thursday night. Very, very well done. Very well done. And the other thing I would like to share with you is we do have the Rotary Leadership Institute up and running. We are attached to, or we're using the resources and the, if you will, the welcome mat of the Zone 3031 Heart of America. They have a full Rotary Leadership Institute program in place over there where you can take courses online or you can take them in person. And they have if you go to Heart of America Zone 3031, you will see on their front page a Rotary Leadership Institute link, and you can click on that, and that opens up all the dates and all the information to get you started. Al Brothers, our past district governor, has graciously taken the assignment to head that up for our district. I am going to post in chat his contact information. Feel free to reach out to him with any questions that you have. Here's your direct link to it. It's a great program. I'm glad we're able to have it available to us again. I've been a beneficiary of that many years ago, but it's well worth your time. Any type of training is well worth your time. The thing I found about it most interesting is when you make wonderful contacts and relationships with those in these classes, especially as you progress and you get go to the first, second, and the final third one. Then you have the people that are obviously very much in tune to the value of training, and they make wonderful contacts, and to stay with these people as your career in Rotary continues. So that's all I have to say. I'll drop this in chat while we're going with this, and welcome Saturday morning. And Ed, whoever's up next.
Thank you, Tim. My name is Ed Van Wyk. I'm the district governor-elect and one of the people on the training team for the district. And first of all, this morning, we're going to talk about the theme and the goals for the new Rotary year 2023-2024. But first, a poll. What do you know about district resources? Chris.
I don't have any fancy countdown music queued up, but we'll give it another few seconds here for everybody to select an answer. All righty. And here's the results.
All right. We got some smart people on here. I'll thank you for participating in that. On that note, also, you can use the chat function to ask any questions that you might think of as we are going through the presentation. And at some point, we will pause and answer those if we know the answer. We're not all knowledgeable, but we'll try. Okay. Rotary International President-elect Gordon McAnally gave a fabulous speech at the International Assembly a couple of weeks ago and revealed his theme for the 23-24 Rotary year to be create hope in the world. This speech, about 30 minutes long, has not been condensed to a shorter version, so I did not want you to sit through 30 minutes this morning, but I will encourage you to go to the Rotary International website and to watch his speech in which he announces this theme. It was a very powerful speech. How do we do that? Create hope in the world. One of the things that Rotary has always been known for is promoting peace and we will continue to focus on that. But new for the next Rotary year is a focus on mental health for us as individuals, for our organization, but also encouraging people to take away the stigma that is around mental health. Because all of us at times struggle, all of us might have depression or other mental health challenges. And if we cannot help ourselves and be healthy, then we cannot help others. Gordon has a very powerful part of his speech about this. I encourage you to watch that speech. Then the other thing is to continue what was called to empower girls. But one of the speakers put that in a different perspective. She said, if you empower girls, then that means that you still have power over these girls. What we need to do is think of this in a different way. Unlock the power that is already inherently in the girls. So that will be another of the three main focus for this Rotary year. It is all based still on the Rotary Action Plan, which was designed a couple of years ago for 5 years. And I believe we're in the 4th year of that in the 23-24 year. And the Rotary Action Plan encourages us to do this. Together, people create change. Together, we see a world where people unite, take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited about the mental health part of the focus that Gordon has. So there are 4 things that we are encouraged to do as we talk about the Rotary Action Plan: increasing our impact. Rotarians are people of action. And when we take action that is based upon evidence, so let us together build the practices and the infrastructure and the capacity that is needed to define, measure, and track and analyze data from our service projects in a more effective way. And the tool is in place in myrotary.org in Club Central. And we always encourage our incoming presidents to set goals for their clubs. And as a district team, I would hope that together we can continue to encourage these clubs to do just that, because the data that will be entered for the goals, but then also for the accomplishments, will help Rotary International to show to the world that we are an organization that makes decisions and helps make change in the world based upon evidence. Expanding our reach. We are encouraged as Rotary clubs to be a reflection of the community in which we are located. And oftentimes that is still not the case. And it is not just about men, women. It's also about the type of jobs that are reflected in our organization. It is also about ethnicities. It is about young people, older people. The hope that we have is to expand our reach to be more reflective of the communities that our clubs are located in. So let's work together, sharing values of Rotary with new audiences, so that together people can experience that power that Rotary has as an international service organization. And let's be inclusive and reflective of our communities. Enhance participant engagement. People of action hopefully are able to create relationships that span decades and the world. let's work together to use every encounter that we have with other people as an opportunity to show the world what Rotary can do for people as individuals and as members of communities. And then the fourth priority of the Rotary Action Plan is to increase our ability to adapt. The only constant in life is change. So as people of action, let's look for new perspective and new ideas that will be able to strengthen Rotary and create lasting change. In a culture of research and innovation and a willingness to take risks in your club, so that as a club, you can better serve your community and the people of the world. One of the goals that I would like us to embrace as a district is to continue to unlock the power of girls. And for that, I am working on partnering with Basher's Children's Home, who have a unit that is working on rescuing girls and young women from trafficking. And I am waiting to hear more details, but there is one project that we will embrace as a district to help in the coming year to establish that and to make it happen. It will be partly fundraising, but also creating more awareness of what is going on with trafficking, even in our communities. So I'm excited about that, and as more details become available, I will share those with you as the district leadership team. Jane.
All right, so nice to see all of you. I'm going to share a little bit about our district team for this coming year, 23-24. And first of all, I'd like to thank all of you that are on this Zoom for your service to District 6540 and the constituents that we have in our district, our members that we work with each. So as we said, this is actually the DG line for 23-24. So no, Tim is not out of the picture yet. He is still our current district governor, and you met him at the beginning. But in 23-24, he will be considered the immediate past district governor. Our district governor will be Ed, that you've just heard from. Our district governor-elect, Holly, is on here. Holly? She's waving at us, and you'll actually hear a little bit more from her later. District governor nominee is Brent Shepard, and he was not able to be with us today, had a conflict. And then our DGND, the exciting part that's to be announced at our annual meeting, which will be in April of this year. And so you'll get to know more about them at that point in time. And then it's not actually part of the DG line, but he's what keeps that DG line cohesive. So District Secretary Chris Widener. Chris, gonna say anything? He's a man of few words, but
Everybody's used to hearing my voice, so I'm not. I think everybody here knows me pretty well. So
I know this group does. So all right, we'll move on. So then we kind of broke down our groups into groups. Our membership team for the coming year. Membership chair is Jeff Kroll of the Rotary Club of Fort Wayne. And our innovative and new clubs chair will continue to be Rick Zolman. But he has moved to the Summit City South Club. And he will also be a president-elect. So he's going to have a very full schedule this coming year. But I know Rick can do that. We put district youth programs with membership because I think that when we start to encourage our youth to be part of our programs early, they learn about service above self. And then they also start to learn about the giving back of themselves to others, doing projects. We had recently in my husband's club, the Interact Club was looking at the possibility that the school might not allow them to continue. And one of the leaders of that club wrote an amazing letter to the school board that was shared with that club. And it was just his focus of what that means for youth to be involved in service and starting that process early in life was just absolutely amazing. So our district youth programs leaders, our youth services chair will continue to be Lisa Waterman. Youth Exchange, we have a new district leader this year in Sharon Poley. Rotary Youth Exchange Inbound Chair will continue to be Christina Doherty. Outbound Chair is Courtney Kubley. Ryla, which is our Rotary Youth Leadership, and it says awards, but it's really a weekend of leadership for kids. Normally sophomores and juniors in high school. Last year they did have a few freshmen, and there are some seniors that go too, but it's really advantageous if we can get sophomores and juniors to attend, because then they can come back and help provide some leadership in their schools. But it is a weekend full of activities of learning leadership skills, connecting, interacting with others throughout the district. And they're really trying to build that back up with COVID and not being able to participate for 2 years. Last year, the numbers were down a little bit, but the kids had an absolutely fantastic time. And our student from our club actually wants to start an Interact club. So I'm going to be working with Cindy Krumenacher, who is the Interact chair from Huntington, and she's going to help us get one started, hopefully at Central Noble Schools. Next. And our district foundation team for the coming year. Foundation chair, past district governor Ron John Kinney. This will be his 3rd year as foundation chair. And that is normally a 3-year commitment as directed by Rotary International. Our district grants chair was Sharon Kish. She just recently did a program, a seminar on district grant process, and the deadline for that is March 31st. So you want to encourage your clubs to participate in that and get some funds back into their community or into a project that they're working on to support either local projects or around the world. We are currently in the process of looking for a Paul Harris Society chair. Missy has done that so well for so many years, but you know, we like to change up every once in a while. And as Ed said, the only thing that's constant is change. So we look forward to seeing Missy in some new roles and somebody else to work in her position. Polio Plus will continue to be Jim Jesselnick. And if you have not ever heard his presentations, he's a polio survivor, and it's really amazing. Benefactor and Bequest Society chair is past district governor Christina Doherty. And then our scholarship chair is Ron John Kinney. In addition to this, which we didn't put on here, our annual fundraising chair is always the district governor nominee designate. And if you remember, that's someone that you'll hear about soon in April. Additional team chairs include, I will be the administrative council chair for the 23-24 year. Our district treasurer will continue to be Keith Bruxford. Our nominations is past district governor John Frischie. I'm also going to become the district trainer for the coming year. John Cook, who's on here, is Rotary International Convention district chair, and he does a fantastic job of getting us information about our areas. Finance committee chair will be Tim Gibson this coming year. Someone that you want to keep in mind is Steve Van Scoik, who is the insurance chair. A lot of times when clubs are having a project, they need what's called a certificate of insurance, and Steve, it's on the website, but Steve can also help with any questions on that. And I know during my year as district governor, we had to contact him a couple or 3 different times to say, how will this work? What can we do to get it to work? The AG coordinator this year, through the district governor line, they felt that the district governor nominee is a good spot for an AG coordinator, because that gives them a good chance to meet and learn about all of the assistant governors and about the clubs and really get that closer connection early in their DG line. So that's a new, and that will be Brent Shepard. Community Service Chair, he's on here, wave. Mike Pruitt is going to take that on, and that's a resource for us that for community service projects. I was kind of amazed during my year that some of the clubs didn't even really know where to begin to have a community service project. And so that's somebody then that can help with, here's some ideas of what other clubs are doing. You heard earlier from Tim about Rotary Leadership Institute, and past District Governor Al Brothers is leading that up. And Missy is going to be assisting him on helping get more information out about that. New, just hot off the press, our public image chair for this coming year is going to be Heather Gorowski of South Bend. And our social media chair is Subir, and he's on here. And Subir, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to begin to try and pronounce your last name. I don't want to butcher it. So, and then our friendship exchange is Kurt Hausman of the Rochester Club. And that has kind of been on hiatus for about 2 or 3 years because of the COVID aspect, but they actually, or we as a district, are going to be welcoming the team from Brazil in June of this year. So I know he wants to try and then plan an outbound program probably next year. So that's something to keep in mind is friendship exchange to a foreign country and get to know people in close proximity. So what is the district team task? Well, you know, first of all, I think of it as we are friends and a resource to our members and our clubs. Rotary is a membership-based organization, and they are the key. So how can we provide them with more support and resources to make their clubs and their communities the best they can possibly be? So we work with all clubs, your committee especially, looking at maybe areas in which they're struggling, but even the best clubs, getting the ideas from them to share with others. Look at what clubs the club committees that you'd be working with, reach out to them, ask them what they need. You know, a lot of times we think, oh, we look at the overall picture and we think we know, oh, they need this. And that's not really what that club wants. So making sure that we're reaching out to see what do they want most from the committee. Another thing is working hard to make sure that we schedule and we promote training programs early enough in the year. And a lot of times, if it's your committee, tying that to the Rotary International Month. So there's a membership month, there's a foundation month, there's a public image month. So trying to work with our clubs during that month to kind of encourage them to grow and prosper in that area. And then, of course, a lot of things with anything, if you can delegate some of these tasks, kind of grow a committee, that's going to help you manage your time and your priorities better. Any questions on any of our district leadership team or anything so far?
We don't have any questions in chat at this time, so.
No, then I don't see anybody raising a hand or unmuting, so we can move on. Holly.
Okay, I am this year until June 30, the AG coordinator. But I will also talk about what next year's AG coordinator, Brett Shepard, will be doing. So basically, the role of the assistant governor is to support the clubs. And our AGs each have usually 3 or 4 clubs that they're supporting that are in their geographic area. Usually their own club is one of their clubs. And their job is to check in regularly with the clubs, ideally be attending 4 club meetings a year, maybe attending their events and board meetings, definitely working with their presidents-elect to set their goals for the upcoming year and help get those into Rotary Club Central, and then helping them follow along in Rotary Club Central to make sure that they're on target to meet those goals. The AGs also work with the district leaders to help them support the clubs. For instance, the AGs may work with the membership committee to help push out membership information. We also regularly, through the AGs, push out any information about events like the district celebration in April. We're encouraging the AGs to push that out. So as you go through your year and your district committee is doing something that you need to get out to the clubs, or you need feedback from the clubs, the assistant governors are an excellent place to get that. Also, if you're just at a club and it seems like they need some training or information, or they're struggling with something, or have them reach out to their AG. If for some reason they don't know who their AG is, they can always reach out to the AG coordinator and we can help facilitate that. And then, of course, the AGs, you probably know them from when the district governor visits a club, the assistant governor is typically the one to do that introduction and to do that liaison with the club.
Thank you so much, Holly. It's back to goal setting for the coming year. So let's have a poll about that. Chris.
And since I know we have a minimum of one smart aleck on the call, anybody who answers Narnia, I will be calling later. You know who you are. Give everybody a few more seconds here to, oh, okay. Here we go.
All right. My Rotary and Rotary Club Central were both mentioned. And that's actually correct. You have to go to My Rotary to get to Rotary Club Central. And I am pleased to see that nobody thought we have to go to Narnia, that nobody thought I just keep it in my head or do it in Club Runner. Club Runner is important, but not for goal setting. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this poll. So setting goals. As a district team, we all work with clubs to set goals that support Rotary's strategic plan and the goals that the district has for the new year. We are important in offering our services as a district leader to the clubs so that they can gain commitment from their members to support these initiatives of Rotary International and of the district. One of the things that was started in Shaker Mehta's year is to encourage clubs to collaborate and to share resources. And I think we want to continue to encourage that, especially since we have several clubs that are getting smaller. And if they are in the same regional area, it would make sense for clubs to work together and to set goals for service projects. And then assist clubs in helping them to review their goals and look at the historical data that's in Rotary Club Central to see where they were, and maybe if the goals have gone down in the last couple of years, try to reverse that curve and be better at doing membership, foundation giving, service projects, etc. The goal as a district team is to be a resource and to help the clubs succeed. Chris.
Well, as everyone's heard probably 1,000 times that's here, communication is going to be key as usual. The resources that we have available to us have been updated a little bit recently, and we're going to be hitting that a lot up in Kalamazoo with the PEs. But I think it's important for those of you that are on this call to know that there have been some fairly significant changes lately. Rotary Club Central, I think I think everyone here would agree we're always hoping it gets a little faster, but they've made some minor changes and improvements. Like I said, we'll be hitting those harder at Kalamazoo for all the club presidents. One of the things that I want to make sure, especially those of you that have been in Rotary for a while, to know is that the brand center has been updated. There's some new templates, especially if you're doing any kind of training or any kind of presentation to the clubs. If you have any problems finding it, of course, just give me a holler. But they've really done some nice things with them recently. We're going to be focusing on the fundamentals in a lot of ways when we start talking up in Kalamazoo. But one of the things that I want to personally encourage is, the district website is a work in progress. Since I became the district secretary and started doing the updates, we're constantly trying to change things. We're constantly trying to improve things. We don't want it to where people are having to dig in, several layers deep to find information. So if there's anything you can't find on the district website, please let me know so we can try and organize it in a way that is more readily apparent. We've done quite a few updates already this year on accessibility as far as being able to access different portions of it, especially since RI has gone away from the manuals and gone to the Learning Center. We want to make sure that all the stuff that they're trying to get, because there's so many different ways of learning, whether you're a visual learner, an auditory learner, we want to meet them where they're coming from. And I think, Ed, as district trainer, had helped me push a lot of stuff on the YouTube channel. And I think we're going to really keep up with that and try and push it even more, because those snippets have been so useful over the years. And I really think that's helped people. Social media, unfortunately, is definitely here to stay at this point. So we've been, Sabir's here on the call, and we've been working on different things for that. And he did a really good training earlier. There's some things with that we're going to be really having to re-emphasize this year. There's so many changes to the algorithms on the different platforms that I think that's really going to affect the clubs. And I would highly encourage you, as was alluded to earlier, if you've got any kind of event, especially training, I'm always happy to help set up meetings, on Zoom and everything else. But anything that we want to get out there, we really want to start trying to push really hard on social media as well, as early as we can. Anything that gets people a reminder, I'm never gonna discourage. So Rotary Showcase is, as we talk about the different global grant opportunities, the district grant opportunities, I really think we haven't made that a strong emphasis in past years. I mean, we've told people about it, and I know there's been some utilization, but I think that's going to be one of the things that really helps us. So, and of course, I mean, when we start talking about this, the important part is, next slide, if you would, Ed, the importance of questions. So if there are any questions about any of the resources available, feel free to reach out to me at any point. If anybody has any questions about any of the resources or any of the changes that RI is implementing, I mean, I don't see anything in the chat, but if you've got any questions about it, feel free to either reach out to me afterwards, or if you want to unmute and ask now, feel free. So.
Thank you, Chris. We're going back to Jane.
You guys are a quiet group today. You really can ask questions. We said put them in chat, but we also put in some times for questions. So that helps us grow as far as what training we need to do also when you give us questions. So I appreciate it whenever you do that, because that helps us know, okay, what else do we need to add when we're training our presidents? What do president-elects? What do we need to do with other AGs? So let us know if we've missed some area as we move forward. So moving on, supporting the clubs. A lot of this, next slide, a lot of it is a little bit redundant, but like I said earlier, we're a membership-based organization. Our clubs are what really drives our district, what drives our Rotary International. So working with the clubs to help them assess their strengths and weaknesses. We used to do visioning. We don't do that as much anymore, but still we did as a district last year. a strategic plan. And I think that's important. And I think that's important for clubs to do on a fairly regular basis. And as AGs or district leaders, we can help provide guidance with that, even be helping with facilitating or at least giving some ideas for questions or things that they should be looking at. The next aspect of that is then once they have that is helping them with some creative ideas, encouraging the creative ideas for one thing. I think sometimes clubs still think, oh, I can't do that. That's not in, the Rotary approval. And it's like, no, really, there's so much flexibility anymore with Rotary. It needs to, as Ed said earlier, it needs to reflect your community. It needs to reflect the needs of your community and your clubs. So I think that was one of the biggest things too, is those creative ideas. What one club is doing well may be just what another club needs to hear so that then they can move forward. And I think that's where we can really promote through social media and some of those aspects, those fun activities, those fundraisers that they're doing, that somebody goes, oh, that'd be really fun in our community too. That would really work here. I'd like to be involved. I know the Lowell Club has done the fundraising raffle where they go on Facebook every night for a month and give away funds. They were one of the first to start it that way. I know at least during last year and this year, there are 3 or 4 clubs that have continued to do that and or have started doing that. And it's such a great way. It combines their fundraising. Every night they tell something about what they're doing in their club as far as community service. So then they're also getting their public image out. They get people learning and knowing about Rotary and what Rotary is doing in the community. So it's those types of things. You don't always think about your fundraising as being some of your best public image and membership drawing aspects, but it can be, and encouraging non-members to participate. I think another one that's really important is engage members. As we talked a lot of times during my year, we've been at 1.2 million members for a long time period. They said we went to 1.4, but then I've seen we're back at 1.2. And a large part of that is we're bringing in new members, but we need to make sure we're engaging our current members, making sure that they feel like their membership is of value to them, because it's not cheap. If there is some funds that need to go into being a member, but I think the value of being a Rotarian far outweighs the money that I spend and what I can do to help others. Looking at club flexibilities, looking at, the old Rotary Club of meeting every week, having to do all of the different things on the list of this is the way the club needs to look. That is no longer the case. So they can be twice a month. They can meet sometimes at noon, sometimes in the evening. You need to look at what's important to their members, but I think that's where you kind of go back to that first step of helping clubs assess what do they want? What do your members need and want? And then working very hard to try and get that to work. The other thing is with the club flexibility and innovating is we want to make sure that we continue to value the older Rotarians, the more experienced Rotarians, I should say, in terms of they're used to doing things a certain way while still offering opportunities and growing with younger ones too. So sometimes it's a strong balancing act. One time it may be one way and one time it may be a little bit more for another, but making sure that if it's something that's just really outdated and people don't want to do it anymore, make sure you've asked that question. Are they interested? And as we said earlier, the managing change. It's kind of hard at times for people to change. I think that's one of the hardest things for people to do a lot of times. They don't realize they're changing every single day, whether you like it or not. But when it really comes down to somebody mandates to them or says to them, our club's going to move to Wednesdays at noon instead of Tuesdays at noon, that can be a major issue for some people. So how do you approach that, and how do you make it work so that it works well for clubs and for members? The other thing with this is, if you look, and Ed talked about it a little bit earlier in the strategic plan, is these colors make up the rainbow and they all work together. And the rainbow, when it comes together, makes such a beautiful sight. And to me, that's what our clubs are. When we have some reds, some yellows, some greens, some blues, and we put them all together, we just manage to do such great work and to improve our communities and really improve ourselves. So I think that's the thing. That's why we work so hard on diversity, equity, and inclusion, because it makes us all stronger and better when we have different looks at different things when we're talking about clubs and resources and communities and what can be done to help, and lots of new ideas. I did see there's one thing. There's a question in chat. Do you want us to do it now, Ed, or later?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, and so Sabir, I may have you ask a little bit, or expand on that a little bit. You ask who's our contact person for institutional membership?
Exactly. What we are exploring now, how to increase our membership base. And one of the possibilities is to open up institutional memberships. For example, we used to have quite a few bankers in our club, but they have dropped out. Some of them retired and did not continue, so on and so forth. So we have been thinking that if we can get those banks themselves as an institutional member and let them decide who will represent the club, represent the bank in our club, maybe that's one of the ways that you can increase our membership base.
Yeah, I think the best contact for that would be the membership chair, Jeffrey Kroll, and his team. And clubs have the opportunity, because of the flexibility, to have corporate memberships. And I know lots of clubs have that, but I would suggest working with Jeffrey Kroll and the membership team. We do not have a designated person for that particular thing. I think also Rick Zolman would be a good resource. He has worked on some of these things in the Fort Wayne area. Tim, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Subir, I'll get that started for you through Jeff Kroll, and I'll copy you on the emails. And also Rick. We'll just ask that question to both of them at the same time. Our club, the Fort Wayne Club, we have quite a few corporate memberships. So we've been down that road. So I'll get that email thread started, and we'll get the ball rolling.
Thanks, Tim. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just add, Sabir, that's normally what we call them in Rotary, more as corporate memberships. Okay. And there's a lot of different ways in which to do that. So I know 2 or 3 different clubs have done it a little bit differently. So that's something we could certainly talk about. And maybe we'll put that on the list for the president-elect training too, to help them out with that. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Working as a team, because teamwork makes the dream work. We must work together and communicate often. And we can communicate in many different ways. We've already emphasized the important role of assistant governors. They can be the key resource that will relay information between the governor, the district committees, and the clubs, and the other ways around. Also, once again, district committees, membership committee, foundation committee, any of our committees can work directly with the club and their committees for that area. Reach out to the foundation chair of the club and ask, how can we help you? Make them aware of things that are happening with the foundation. for example, and same goes for membership and other areas. Collaborate with one another on projects and think about what kind of projects would be best suited for collaboration, because not every project is suited for collaboration. Consider the type of information that you want to communicate and how often you want to do it and in what way. And that's where I am excited about working together on the public image of Rotary as a district, and use the social media that we have and newsletters and other ways in which we can communicate to give the clubs the information that is important to them. And to that effect, I think we need to really look together as a district team to make a district communication plan. We have different ways in which we can communicate, but I don't think we have a succinct plan that lays out, this is how we are going to do that. And that goes also back to one thing that Jane said about using the Rotary International months of emphasis for membership, foundation, etc. That should all become part of that communication plan. So I'll be reaching out to you to work on that together and make that happen here in the next couple of months. Wrapping it up. This is what we're called to do. Create hope in the world. We have more than 2,000 Rotary members in District 6540. These 2,000 people, when they individually and together in their clubs work on these things that we talked about, can indeed create hope in the world. I'm looking forward to working with all of you this coming year. And if you have any thoughts, questions, ideas, reach out to me and I will work with you and the team to continue to work on that goal that Gordon has set for us to create hope in the world. Are there any last minute questions? You're such a quiet group.
And I know they're not really. I mean, it can also be observations or things that you have seen that you would like to share with us. We'd be glad to hear that also.
I just want to say it's a really nice necklace, Jane. That's an observation.
Oh, Mike.
I think Mike drank all the coffee.
I'm hammered now, brother.
All
Great
right.
job, Ed. Hey, great job, Ed. Wonderful, everybody.
Thank you all for being here this morning. Look forward to continuing to work together. Give one last chance for people to comment or ask a question, and then we'll sign off, because I'm sure that we all have other things that are pressing, like taking a nap.
There's a, hey, Al Brothers, welcome.
Yeah.
Your name, I put your email address in chat on this so I can contact you for RLI.
Fantastic. Okay, sounds great.
Okay,
Appreciate
good.
it. Thank you.
Good.
Pam,
All
good
right.
to see you, Al.
Good to see you.
Have a great,
See
have a
ya.
great